Feels good to get a win. Definitely feel good about what our team did today. It was a good performance. I felt we had a really good mindset going into this game about how important it was for us to show the improvement that we've been working on the last couple of weeks on our bye. It was good to see that it paid off in a convincing fashion. Feel good about Bilu's progress today. I felt good what he was doing the last couple of weeks, that there was going to be a matter of time where he's going to start to feel very confident in what he can do. He had some receivers that made some terrific plays, but he made some terrific throws. Really felt good about that progress that we worked on with getting him, kind of more foundationally set and doing some really, really good things for us offensively. This was a really good win for us as a program because we, all three areas scored touchdowns. And, the special teams touchdown, which was huge on a block punt, young rookie, freshman, makes a big play. Great to see that. That kind of gave us opportunities to create some opportunities on the defensive side. Carson Wells did a tremendous job of stepping in front of a pass and going for another chance for a score. It was good to see that. And then offensively, I think in the second half, when we started hitting two or three more of those big plays down the field, that you can tell that the shell was broken. Finally, was getting ready to open up and do some very positive things. So I like how we finished the game. That's a big thing. I think that means more important things to me than probably anybody in this room is how we finished the game. We haven't been a great finishing program for a while, and we are learning that process. And that's what I'm excited about, how we finished the game. So very good win. We needed it. A lot of hard work went into it. A lot of faithful young men that stayed true to themselves. And it was good to get some reward from all the stuff that they've stayed committed with. So very, very excited about them being able to get themselves this opportunity and this win. Questions, please.
You mentioned the buy-in there. Just how important was it after the USC game to kind of take a step back as a program and try to hit that reset button?
It was big because we were, in spurts, and even like the first two games of the year, we were playing well in certain areas defensively. That was showing up. Probably everyone saw, early in the season, but we still weren't playing as well as we were capable of putting everything together. And I just think as we kept marching through the first half of the season, it was very challenging. We had good programs we played against, but there was some things that we just quite weren't executing at a level that it should have been in everything that we were doing. So it was defense, it was offense, and special teams. Cole, his first two kicks were misses. So it was just not quite in rhythm. And so we just went back to, like I mentioned to you guys last week in the press conference, just the square roots of playing the game. Defenders, we got to get off of blocks and make plays. That's everybody on defense. And offensively, we got to protect, and we know that was part of our issues with protection with our offensive line. And we just worked on some things that we felt were drastically strong issues that we needed to gain some ground on. And so we couldn't do everything, but we did the things that were the most important. And I think that was reflective today where, Bilu had more time to throw. And then our defense did make a few plays on the football. And then special teams, we've had chances in previous games of blocking the punt, and then finally we get a chance to block one today. So it does matter a lot that the things we work on, that it does happen. It can be productive. You can execute it. And that's what I saw today. So now I think they'll have a better sense of why we do the things we do, because it results in some pretty fantastic things.
Carl, you guys were still, struggling a little bit offensively, and then Trevor gets the block punt and Carson gets the interception. And it seemed like after that, the offense kind of almost exhaled and loosened up a little bit. Did you feel any kind of collective kind of sigh of relief?
I
after
believe
those
that's
two?
what our team felt. You know, we needed someone to step up and make a play, Brian, and it was great to see, you know, Trevor do that. And it gave everybody kind of a spark. It was a 6-0 game for almost 3 quarters, you know, so it was something that we needed some boost, you know, some shot in the arm, so to speak. And I believe that does things to any team, particularly, you know, when we've lost 4 games in a row and you're trying to figure out your way of winning, you need someone to step up and make a play so everybody responds about, you know, the next opportunity we do. So it probably was quite a bit of, you know, it did give us all a little bit of a boost when that score happened, and then Carson's score comes the next series, and then B-Lou starts to really get hold of doing some things aggressively. You know, I wanted our offense to throw the football, particularly in the second half. You know, he's made, talking about Brendan Lewis, he's made so much progress that I've seen these 2 weeks. I felt very confident that I want to give him in rhythm to make some plays. And I think Darren called some good plays for us to get some shots, and good to see that our young receivers, you know, stepped up to the plate and made those plays too. So there's definitely a great sense of accomplishment from all the stuff we worked on, and we'll feed on this to, you know, to continue to grow in this fashion.
Carl, you talked about the foundational stuff with Brendan. What changed in that progress you mentioned of these 2 weeks and getting away from it and coming back into it? And how do you kind of bottle that and that confidence of that strong finish to keep rolling that forward?
Well, you know, Sean, my approach with that was to tell Brendan that it's not all his fault, which it wasn't. You know, and I was telling you guys in press conferences before, you know, protection was bad, and just things that we're doing that it looks like he's doing everything wrong, and it wasn't. You know, sometimes the receivers weren't open. So it was a number of things that we weren't doing effectively to help him do his job. So when I pointed those things out in front of team setting with everybody watching, they had a better understanding about, you know, I got to do my job better. If we're going to get this thing right, it's not just on Brendan Lewis, it's on the offensive line doing what they're supposed to do, and then the tight ends and receivers, and, you know, they got to make plays when they get a chance to make plays. So they took ownership. That's really what happened. They took ownership over the break, and they weren't pointing fingers. It was more like, you know what, I got to do that better. And I think once a team realizes that they can do it better, which really collectively makes everything happen, that's really kind of where we're at right now. They see the results of everybody taking ownership of it.
Kind of along the same lines, you mentioned, I think your phrase was frustrated players staying true to themselves. And you can only coach them up so much. What's the challenge of a 19, 20-year-old player staying true to themselves when things are going bad? And
You know, I have to, it's just being so repetitive in terms of my job, right? And it is being true to the foundation of how you grow and learn this game and excel at this game is, you know, you go through the teaching elements of it, you go through the fundamental discipline of it, and then you go through the execution of it. And usually those first 2 areas, they struggle, right? Because first of all, they're not doing it well. It's not being successful, so it's easy for them to be down on themselves. But if you stay true to it and they see that light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, that I'm getting better at it, and then all of a sudden that light at the end of the tunnel is a little bit brighter, and then you got plays that are being made that are a little bit more easier because they kind of like the light bulb came on. That's kind of what this team went through these first 3 or 4 weeks, is that we weren't quite hitting on all cylinders, but I think that bye week helped us kind of reorganize ourselves and to really sort through it to about everybody being responsible for it. And that's where I think that light bulb came on for all of them.
show that metaphor, to have the light, to go into the light rather than stumbling around in the dark. How important that is to young players to believe in the program that they can do it collectively as a team. I mean,
It's instrumental. I mean, that's when you don't have nothing to show for it as to why it hasn't worked. It takes a lot of faith and hope and a lot of repetitive discussions that I'm making and the coach is making about, men, I'm telling you, we're this close. And I mean, you got a couple gentlemen, they're going to tell you we're a good football team. They know we're a good football team. We just haven't put it all together. And hopefully this is a great example that for them to realize really, wow, when we do have this type of mindset, we can achieve the goals and aspirations we set for ourselves, which is winning ball games. So I think it was a great testimony to these young men that they accepted the challenge about we needed to get this win, and we needed to start the second half of our season, knowing that they're all Pac-12 games and everyone matters, and they're going to keep mounting up, as we go, and so they're definitely in a good place right now in terms of understanding what we need to do.
Carl, I know you mentioned this week the people around Brendan Lewis doing their job more effectively, but with him personally, just a lot of the hesitancy that we've seen from him over the last couple weeks, just being a little bit shy on the trigger to toss the ball downfield, a lot of that seemed to vanish. I mean, the second offensive snap you guys ran, he takes a shot for 31 yards to Brendan Rice. I'm curious, just from your vantage point, what was different about him today and just how he performed out there?
I think his body of work today, Justin, was pretty good, but he still held on the ball a couple times today. And I'll remind him when I get into meetings with him about there was a couple times he flushed out. I mean, he always takes care of the football, though, right? He always throws it out, or, I'm trying to make him more efficient with his legs about if there's something that's not there, get me something with your legs, get down, and we'll go to the next play. That's what I want him to improve on instead of really trying to extend plays when he knows there's nothing there and he ends up throwing it away. So he still does a great job of protecting the football. But he'll tell you, he's very excited about the things that have happened today, no question. But there's always a handful of things that we're still going to try to shore up. We're still going to try to clean up and fix, as he moves forward. But the big thing about it, is the fact that he made a huge step of progress. And he should be rewarded for the hard work he's put in these 2 weeks that showed today. And there's no question in my mind he's going to be all in about continue to stay on that path of playing really good football. That's going to help everybody, because everybody's going to be energized by it. And I think we're in a good spot right now about building off of this win and moving forward as we go through the season.
Coach Terrell, Alex Ramirez, Mile High Sports Radio. You mentioned earlier that all three phases of the teams participated today. Is this the kind of game that you can build some blocks on and really understand the foundation and where your team is at and where the coaches are at and some of the players, where they stand? And how do you build from a victory like today?
It's a great way to build off of anything is when you win like today. It's a pretty decisive win. There should be a level of confidence that they feel that they can play even better and do things even more successfully. I think what I liked most as the head of the program is that all three phases really did some great things that showed their abilities to really dominate and have some dominating performances. So there's a lot to build off of this game, but we're nowhere close to where we can be. And they'll tell you that. You got four gentlemen behind you. They're going to tell you they've made mistakes throughout this game, but no one knows about. But they know that if we really tighten the screws with our preparation and how we do things and move forward with having the same type of productivity, we got a chance to do a really special, we have some opportunities to be special this year. And this was a great win to build off of. It's great to go back into the film room off of this win and fix the things that we continually need to fix. But I think they're starting to understand the standard of performance that needs to be done in practice that gives you that chance to have that level of play on Saturdays.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you. Congrats to these four men back there. Good job, baby. You didn't think you were going to get to that go round.
I did.
I know, but you kept running. It was a heck of a play.
Hey, the sun was in my eyes. I almost didn't catch it.
All right, we have Nate Landman, Brendan Lewis, Brendan Rice, and Carson Wells First question back over there.
Yeah, my question goes out to Carson and Nate. Not only a shutout, but a really commanding and dominating shutout. What kind of confidence does this instill back into a defense that kind of had a rough 2 weeks before the bye week?
It's huge. You know, we want to get out there, and that's our goal is a goose egg. You know, as long as our offense puts up, 3 points, our mentality is that if we put them to shutout, we win the game. And I think that boosts our confidence, as a starting defense and for the younger guys on the team as well.
I mean, as soon as the offense scored a field goal in the first quarter, we said if they don't score again, they don't win. So that was our philosophy through the whole game.
Question, Brendan Rice. I've talked to you recently. I know, and talking to other players, there's been a lot of frustration over the last 4 weeks. I know all wins are good, but does this one taste a little sweeter when you've gone through a month like you guys have?
Especially after we went through adversity, and then to be able to triumph over Arizona, definitely. Because honestly, just seeing the growth from this team, seeing the growth from B-Lou, our line, people taking over, leaders coming about, it changes the environment of the team. It makes us all grow together. It makes us all push up together. So it definitely means a little more.
Brendan Lewis, obviously it was a tough stretch leading up to this game. How were you able to keep your head up and keep grinding, and what can today do from just a confidence standpoint for you?
Yeah, I was able to keep my head up because of the support that my teammates and my coaches have showed me throughout this little adversity that we've gotten. But I feel like they really helped me. They've all had my back, and it helped me continue to grow. So I feel like their help really tremendously helped me keep my head up and not get too down and being able to get better each week.
Carson, when Trevor gets that block punt and touchdown, it just seemed like that really changed a lot for this team. That then you get the pick six, and it seemed like the whole attitude changed. Can you just talk about what you sensed from those two plays and if it kind of changed everything?
Well, I mean, special teams can either win it or lose you the game. And in this case, it won us the game. I feel like that was a big tide change right there. Trevor's a good kid. He works hard every day. He earned that. Got the punt block and then scooped and scored. That's a big play.
This is for Brendan Rice. Coach talked about keeping it basic, so this question's going to be real basic. For you, what's the hardest part of football when you're losing, and what's the best part of it when you win?
It's kind of an unfair question. I mean, just going through adversity, you got to love it because you see some of the greats go through it, and that's what really brings you back up on top. That's where people are you separate yourself from a regular player to being the greatest of all time, a Hall of Famer. So, yeah, it sucks losing, but that adversity builds team and it builds the foundation. And then winning is always good, but you got to keep it going.
Brendan Lewis, my question's for you. Really just an all-around complete game. We've seen a lot of your arm that we really haven't seen all season. How do you take this confidence, especially not only in your arm but in your receiving core, and go into the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think this game really, I feel like me and the receivers really trusted. We know we can do this. We know we can make plays. Just a matter of time. And I think this game really is going to boost us through the rest of the season to continuously just making plays.
Brendan Lewis, did you hear a lot of the criticism about the quarterback play and things like that over the last month? And
no, I don't pay attention. I don't pay attention to that. I just keep my head down, keep working with my teammates.
And then just a follow-up for Brendan Rice. I know all the receivers have been waiting for some sort of breakout, and so you had a big one today, Montana, Dimitri. How big was this for the receiving core?
It was huge. It was huge. But just to go back on the point behind B-Lou, we stood behind B-Lou. We knew that what we were capable of in the beginning of the season, we knew that we could be electric. So it was just a matter of time, like he said, before we actually went out there and did our thing. We just got to make plays and execute every day in and day out. It'll be all right.
Any other questions? Yep.
For Brendan Lewis, so on the deep ball, the first deep ball to Brendan Rice, it was a contested catch, something he had to go up and catch. It's not simple. What kind of confidence does that give you and your receivers when you see something like that?
Yeah, I've always had confidence in B. Rice that he can make those type of plays. He just really hadn't gotten the chance, and he got the chance today, and he showed that he can make those plays. So I feel like during the rest of the season, our trust is just going to build more and more. We're going to see more of those plays being made.
question's for Nate, but Carson, if you want to chime in as well. Just defensively, I know you guys have given up more points than you want to give up the last few weeks. So to come out like this, I mean, what kind of changed for you guys over the last 2 weeks? And we talk about, there's been a lot of talk about the offensive, adjustments over the last 2 weeks. What have you guys done defensively? And do you feel like this kind of got you back?
Yeah, for sure. I think in the past, even though we gave up the points that we didn't want to give up, we were right there. And, whether it was one explosive or a couple or even a penalty in the wrong time, that's kind of what kept the drives alive and added points to the board. So I think, having the bye week and being able to go practice those 2 weeks, we really focused on limiting explosives and playing sound fundamental football and not getting those penalties to extend those drives. And I think we were able to do that today. We still had some mistakes. Football is a roller coaster, and you'll have those mistakes, but I think we, minimized those compared to weeks past.
For Carson, just what did you see on that pick six?
We called it pressure from the other side, so I'm just a flat defender. So I just hit number 2, and then 3 ran a stick right to me. So just broke on the ball. Then got a good block from Nate, a couple good blocks, wasn't getting tackled by the quarterback again.
My question's for all 4 of you. Kind of an overlooked position is the punter position, and have a guy like Josh Watts on the team. I mean, how crucial is it to have a guy who can just flip the field like that with a leg like his?
It's huge. I think I saw something before the game that PFF rated our special teams like number 5 or whatever it was, and Josh's leg is huge. The way he can flip the field helps the defense out, and then in turn helps the offense out if we can get a quick stop. And I think he's pretty underappreciated for the things he can do, but maybe in the outside world, but super appreciated on the team.
That one punt he had from the back of the end zone to the other 30, the whole team went crazy. We love him.
Anything else for these guys? All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.